Hey, my name's Jake Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I've got this week's property news. It's another busy week in property. So much is happening every single week at the moment. We've got the Renters' Rights Bill going on. We've got the stamp duty stuff going on. We've got the budget coming up, and what's the impact going to be on everyone from that? Well, in this video, I'm going to go through all the big stories of this week and much, much more. Now, if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're on the way to 50,000 subscribers. And by subscribing, you'll get all the latest house price news, interest rate news, property investing tips, and much, much more. And let's get some views on the channel. Your part's simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that's really helped the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So as always, every week I say it's a busy week, and it just doesn't stop. Maybe Christmas week we'll have a little bit of a break then. So what have we talked about this week? First I want to talk about is rents. There's lots of discussion about rents at the moment. And there's a lot of landlords surveyed that say they're going to be putting up rents considerably this year. Now, this year, rents are sitting at 5.6% up. 5.7% up, for the year. That's a lot. And that's your biggest bill if you're a tenant. By far, that's your biggest bill. And that bill doesn't come back down. Sometimes your petrol goes up, then your petrol goes down. Your rent doesn't. When it goes up, it's very rare that a landlord would call you and say, you know what, next year I'm cutting your rent. Just doesn't happen. So 5.7% up is a big jump. But what's the expectation now? Well, 61% of landlords surveyed are going to increase their rent this year. And the average increase people are looking at is 6%. A lot of this is down to the fact that there's extra legislation that's going to cost landlords. You've got selective licensing in some areas. You've got interest rates that are still very high. In fact, some have gone up this month, which is not good. There's lots of different factors that are contributing towards this. And it's also down to a shrinking rental market. There's less property for rent at the moment, and that's causing problems. So rents are going up. I've made a longer video on that. You want to see any of the other videos? Below this, click where it says Property Accelerator, then click on videos, and you can see all the detailed videos on that there. What about mortgage rates? Well, most lenders have put rates up, but one did cut. And so Halifax actually cut rates. They went from 3.99 to 3.79%. Not a huge decrease, but a decrease nonetheless. That's good. That's what we want to see. We hope more lenders follow suit. Now, the rate that these guys borrow at, the lenders that we borrow from, I'm talking Santander, I'm talking HSBC, all of these lenders, their rate of borrowing actually got more expensive since the Bank of England held last month and since the Federal Reserve held as well. And that's just because there's a lot of uncertainty. They're not sure what's happening with the market or where we're going. And so the swap rate that they borrowed at went up. That meant their borrowing got more expensive. So when you see a lender like Halifax cutting, it means they've just cut their margin because they want more business. They want more business in today's market. And hopefully, because the market is slower, you might see other lenders copy this. Nationwide, they like to be cheap and competitive as well. So let's see what happens this week. But on the whole, on average, according to Uswitch, all lenders increased rates in the last week. Not good. What about this? This is a crazy story. One of the most popular stories this week. And in May of this year, only 19 properties, new build properties, in Greater London, not Central London, the whole of London, including all the external boroughs, 19 new build properties sold. That's crazy. I didn't believe that. You guys didn't believe that as well, because you were Googling it and commenting saying, he's right, I can't believe this. And you guys were even the ones commenting that it wasn't just Central London, this was the whole of London. 19 properties, new properties, sold in a month is crazy. Now, some of that could be down to the fact that that was so close to just after the stamp duty increase. So January, February, March were very busy on property sales around the UK. 500,000 transactions got done. And so it would make sense that there was a slowdown. This was a massive slowdown. It was hundreds and hundreds of properties last May that sold. So 19 is crazy, and we'll see how that's picked up very soon. But yeah, that's not sustainable. You think about all the conveyancers, all the businesses that are involved in dealing with property transactions, and there was only 19 sales in a month for them to share between them. Not good at all. We also talked about failed deals. There's so many of them at the moment. And what that means is that people put an offer in on a property, they start the legal process, they get the mortgage in process, they get a solicitor started. It's not just people that have done a viewing. There's 500,000 failed property transactions per year. This is costing millions, tens of millions of pounds in fees. The average loss fee is around 1,500 quid. People get in that far to the deal and then they fall out of bed for various reasons. The solicitor finds some major problem with the property, or something happens to a mortgage or whatever. But there's a lot of failed transactions, and we were talking in that content video this week about why don't we just be more prepared when we sell a property? Why don't the government have a law that says, look, you need to, as the seller, get the searches done, get all of this stuff done in order to be able to list the property. For example, you need to have an EPC to list the property. Why not just add a few more bits in? People get that sorted. It's not hard. And get that stuff in and give it a longer shelf life expiry time. That would speed up the process and it would stop more deals falling through. So if the estate agent knew there was a problem, they could help the seller rectify it before taking it to the market and causing all sorts of problems. That's something that I think they should be doing. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And the last one I want to talk about is stamp duty. This has been popular as well. So the government are floating various stamp duty ideas around at the moment. One is that if you bought a property over 500 grand, that you wouldn't pay stamp duty anymore, you'd pay property tax. You'd also stop paying council tax, but you'd pay that forever. That's what they do in America. A lot of people don't like that in America because when you're retired, very expensive. You don't want to carry on with this big bill. It's more expensive than council tax, but it's a lot cheaper than stamp duty up front. So there's pros and cons. However, they've also looked this week and launched and leaked to the media a new strategy. And what they're looking at is the fact that we've sold 19 properties in London in May. That's horrendous. The market's slow. We need to get it moving. What can we do? Well, they're looking at potentially changing stamp duty so you could just pay it in installments. So rather than getting a big lump sum up front, maybe you get to split that over a number of years. Now that could be smart. I like that idea better than the property tax one. So let's just say you got a 10 grand stamp duty bill and you then split that over 5 years. So it's like £150 odd a month. That would get the market moving. Then they don't need that 10 grand up front, so they can wait less time in order to get into the market ready to buy a property. I think that would be good, and I think that would get the market moving again. That is a good strategy. Let me know what you think about that one. I made a longer video on that one as well. So there's lots going on. More stuff next week. Next week we'll have house prices again. So that'll be interesting to see the next lot of house price data and see what's happened in the next month or so since we last did that. Do make sure, if you haven't done it already, you grab a copy of Mortgage Secrets, How to Get the Best Mortgage Deal. This will teach you how and when to get the best broker. It will also teach you how to get off-market deals. You know, Direct Line, you hear the adverts for that all the time where it says Direct Line, their insurance company that is not on all the comparison sites. Well, there are lenders for mortgages like that as well, and I list all of them in here. You should check those out if you're remortgaging. They often have some of the best deals. So you can grab that in the first comment, you can grab it in the description. Do that. Leave a little comment on your way out and check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.